Hey y'all, welcome to the Deep Fried Freethinkers new video series, Answering the Critics. I'm Nathan Piccolo.
And I'm Twinkie D,
We invite you to sit down, stay a while, and enjoy our southern hospitality.
because Southern hospitality is in a little short supply tonight, isn't that right?
Yes, it is.
We're going to take a look today at the brouhaha over the Jackson, Mississippi Capitol Christmas decorations. Because apparently, guess what? The atheist sign's going up again.
Well, they
Just like last year.
signed a permit and
Yeah.
it was passed and
Yeah.
approved.
There's going to be, the Christian nativity. There'll probably be, I'm guessing there'll be a menorah. There'll probably be some other stuff. There's, the pagan Christmas tree
hmm
and the atheist sign.
Not all of them will be representative, but a few.
Yeah. Um, for those of you who are not familiar with the sign, it's not the sign I would have chosen, just to be quite honest. Even though I like almost all of it and I agree pretty much with all of it, I really don't know why at a time that's supposed to be really inclusive and that's supposed to connect people. I'm not sure why you would need to point out that religion is but myth and superstition that hardens hearts and enslaves minds. That seems to be kind of pushing people away, and I'm sure that's got something to do with some of this pushback.
Yes, I believe it does.
You know, one of the problems I have with this is that not all religions are created equally. Divinely revealed religions, religions that are not based on any sort of observable truth, I can see where they harden hearts and enslave minds because, as we're going to see, we've got some really hard-hearted people in our community. But there are a lot of religions that some don't even require you to believe in God. I'm thinking of, Buddhism. I'm thinking of humanism. Thinking of Unitarian Universalists
hmm
that I know. That all sorts of different kinds of people. So I guess that's just my caveat for this video is, that's the part of the sign that I'm just a little bit uncomfortable with, but it doesn't matter because nobody asked me and I don't have a better suggestion, so that's the freedom from religion sign and that's what people want, and, I'm okay with that.
hmm
I'm not going to lose any sleep tonight.
No.
But WJTV on their Facebook page
hmm
had posted something saying, the sign was going to be up, and pretty much chaos ensued. And we've had a lot of people do a really wonderful job of talking to these people, answering them, kind of challenging them.
Quite a few more than I expected.
Yes, it's very, very good to see this kind of, I don't want to say uprising really, because I don't want to make it sound like the hordes of atheists are coming out of the woodwork, but, people are speaking up, and it's not just atheists. It's other Christians. There was some, a pagan or two on there. People who believe in church-state separation are starting to really speak out.
hmm
And I think that's very healthy.
Yes.
But we did want to look at quite a few of the comments. I actually managed to sift through this and get 5 pages worth of comments that I felt like.
5 pages?
Yes, 5 pages worth of comments that I felt were important enough that they needed to be discussed.
Oh, well, somebody's going to get their 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
Well,
I did not cover any names or pictures.
okay.
So I hope for these people's sakes that they have their security settings high on their Facebook. Although I can tell you some of them don't, because I got to see where they work and all that. And I'm like, gee, how would I feel if I went into their place of business and, knowing that they think I'm an idiot or I'm just, deserve hell. I wouldn't want to shop there probably. But,
it's just like
you know,
putting it out in the public eye. It's free
Yeah.
for them to take the skeptical look at it, which is what we're going to do.
That's right. So, we're just going to start here. The way I grouped these is I started with the ones I felt were the most honest, and I kind of worked my way up through that to the questions, and then to the misconceptions, and then just to the downright bigotry and hatred.
hmm
Okay? Our first two I wanted to look at, Ashley, I believe, was one of the pagans, and she was pretty supportive, and the only thing I really wanted to comment on this one that she has here, she says, wants to point out pagans are the good heathens and not the mean ones. Actually, I think most of us are all pretty good heathens. I don't think we're mean people.
No.
We've met so many folks since the 26th thing happened. Nobody is really sticking out in my mind that I have physically met that's mean.
No, I honestly, all the ones I've met, not a single one has been mean-spirited, I would say.
No, and there are a lot of people in the atheist community who are angry, and I think rightly so. There's some things we have to be angry about. But mean, as a community, I'm going to have to say no. And I hope, maybe Ashley didn't mean that the way it sounded, but I would hope that she maybe would get to know some of us and know that we're not mean people either.
And the next one is by Diane. She says, "Attention atheists and agnostics posting about people gave their life for this freedom. You are correct, but you are forgetting about one person in particular that gave his life. That is Jesus Christ, the one who died for all us sinners so that we would be forgiven for our sins."
There's nothing wrong. I mean, she's making a statement of belief here.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that per se. The thing I would like to tell Diane is we haven't forgotten that. We can't forget that because we are constantly being bombarded. Jesus, Jesus. And I'm not talking about in a good, healthy way. I'm talking about, this war on Christmas. And, we're going to push this every way we can because you atheists are trying to take our Jesus away from us. You're trying to take Christ out of Christmas, which I don't even understand.
Yeah, I don't understand. I know that there's more than one type of Christian
Absolutely.
in this nation.
Yes.
There's more than one type of religion in this nation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the main upset years ago was that they were more Christian oriented, or they were more Hanukkah oriented displays being set up in these stores, so they kind of lost business from the Jewish community or the Christian community because they weren't, it wasn't an acceptable scenery. So they decided, okay, we're just going to do holiday decorations that incorporate both sides, whether it's pagan, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, anything of the season, and make it more comfortable for the people to come in and venture into those stores and spend their money there. That's the main thing this thing has turned into, is a huge moneymaker for businesses.
It is, and I don't see them losing any money anywhere, despite the AFA's attempts to boycott. And let me just put a plug in here for our Carrot Mobs.
Oh, yes,
Check that out on the blog. Yeah, I think maybe what they've forgotten is that, like you said, not all Christians celebrate Christmas. I know the Jehovah's Witnesses do not celebrate it.
No.
The Churches of Christ do not celebrate it as a religious holiday in the church.
No, they don't. I was actually surprised to learn that
Yes.
A couple months back, but I did not know that.
Yeah, because they say there's no biblical authority for it. And I understand, I agree. What a lot of people don't know is that the Puritans outlawed Christmas celebrations.
Really?
Because
another thing I didn't know.
They considered them too carnal. They were pagan and carnal. People dancing, singing, having a good time, sweet, stuff like that. No, that's evil. You don't do that.
You'll have to help me with this pronunciation. Is it Saturnalia?
Saturnalia?
Saturnalia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That is a 2-week festival?
I'm not sure how long
it's a 1 or 2 week festival, but I read somewhere recently that the Christmas holiday was actually poised at the end of that because they wanted to take away from the dancing in the streets or something.
Yeah, when the Catholic Church took over those lands, they had to incorporate a lot of those pagan holidays and festivals into the Christian calendar and make that mesh, because the pagans didn't want to give up their feast days. And who would? But now the Puritans did not believe in that, and what a lot of people don't realize is it wasn't until about the 1800s that Christmas became popular in the United States again.
There too, even though it was considered a pagan holiday, it was a holiday of the season, and a lot of times the main city in the area would be where these holiday festivities were held.
Right.
So other outlying, towns and little villages would come to the main city, and they would do a lot of trading and swap materials and conglomerate with fellow man,
right?
And that was a gathering type thing. It wasn't just a holiday of celebrating a season type thing. There was a lot more to it.
Sure, there was. Different cultures have their own different versions of this type of thing. But, there are lots of ways you can celebrate the holiday if you choose to at all. I think a lot of people have either forgotten that or they never knew it. And that's something that we have to do a really good job about educating people, is that Christmas is kind of a Johnny-come-lately, the way we understand it now. It's not something that has always been done. And let's be honest, technically, it's Christ Mass, the Mass of Christ. It's a Catholic feast day.
Yes.
So, I just find that kind of funny. But Diane, we're not forgetting. We can't forget. But we think it's more important to honor those people who actually gave their life and gave their blood, and we see that and we know that, than spending a lot of time worrying about an invisible guy that we've never seen and we've never met and we can't prove exists, and worrying about him sacrificing himself to himself when we didn't ask him to. And I'm not trying to be ugly here, but I think it's really important that you guys know we hold human life to be valuable, despite what a lot of people will tell you. So we haven't forgotten Jesus. The thing is, we just care about people more. All right, going on to our next one. I've grouped these together. These are people who really don't seem to understand the First Amendment, and they have a problem
Yeah.
with us having the same rights as they do. So Margaret says, this is regarding the sign being put up,
Yeah.
alongside the nativity. She says, "That is sickening. I guess I will just pray for them."
Yeah, and Shannon comes up with shame on the state for allowing it.
Really? In God we trust.
And then, like the lady said before, or like the lady before said, can't have a peacock, but you can have that mess. It's all politics. Stupid.
The First Amendment says that we get the same free exercise and free speech rights as everybody else. And that's sickening. It's sickening that we have free religion and free speech.
Yeah.
It's stupid. Shame on the state for allowing us to have the same rights that Christians have. Really?
Yeah. Well, I just want to take a minute with those first two put together. I don't think they realize that it's not just the atheist sign that's being put up. There's a nativity sign up there too. Christians are being represented.
Of course.
And if you read, if you go to this, is it WJTV's Facebook page, they end up coming in about 3/4 of the way down the page and saying, "Oh yes, just an FYI, there is also a Christian nativity scene."
Yeah, like
It
people
was
didn't know that.
becoming such an uproar that everyone thought
Yeah.
that the atheists had put a sign up and no one else was allowed in there.
And where would you even get such a ludicrous idea?
Oh well, it's either lack of information, misinformation.
Yeah.
It's,
The law is very clear. Either you allow everyone to put up a sign, or, as I prefer, nobody puts up a sign.
and that's just it. They're going to have to either decide if they want to have their nativity scene up. They have to allow everyone else to have their signs
Exactly.
up.
How can you be an American that supposedly loves freedom, loves justice, loves the Bill of Rights, loves the Constitution, and yet you say, when other people exercise their free speech and free religion, you say, "Oh, that's just sickening. Shame." I don't understand that. And I'm really sick and tired of people telling me they're going to pray for me as an insult or a threat.
Yeah, that is very insulting.
That is so hateful. If you want to tell me you're going to pray for me because I'm sick or something, that's fine. But when you're going to say, "I'm going to pray for you," like, I'm going to pray God comes and smacks some sense in you. No. I don't appreciate that.
No, they need to step back and think about their Christian teachings and how are they supposed to properly respond.
The funny thing is, you remember the verses where Jesus is talking about, if someone strikes you, you turn the other cheek.
Yes.
If he asks for a coat or something, you give it to him. If he says walk a mile, you walk 2 miles. Well, if we ask for a sign, shouldn't Christians give us 2 spaces for signs?
You would think. You would think.
I would think the Christian thing to do would be like, "Oh, you guys want to put up your sign? Let's help you put it up, or
And-
let's move our stuff over so we can share the space."
Right.
To me, that's a Christian attitude.
Right. The sharing.
Not, "I'm going to be praying for you, you hell-bound heathens."
Yeah. Okay, and moving on to the next one. The In God We Trust. A lot of people don't know this. The actual, the motto that's stamped on the coins and on the, it's printed on the bills.
Yeah.
That wasn't adopted until 1956.
Yeah.
I
The
mean,
height
before
of the
that,
commie scare.
there was the commie scare, and at that time, it got pushed through with some religious backing.
Yeah. Knights of Columbus and all that, wasn't it?
Yep.
Or did they just do the pledge?
And I'm not for sure on that for sure. the religious backing ended up pushing it through, and then it got brought up. And because
Mhm.
of the McCarthy error and the the red commies
Yeah.
list, the I guess it would be a bill passed through very very rapidly and very easily with the "In God We Trust," because there was not a single person in the House or the Senate that was not going to sign this because they would be immediately tagged as a commie.
Yeah, and that was an era when people claimed to have lists and you could go
Mm.
to prison.
Yep.
Something else that people might not know is that we actually had "In God We Trust" on our coins back either around or after the Civil War. There was a preacher who had a push to have that on some of the coins back then too. I don't know why we can't stick with "E pluribus unum," because "In God We Trust" is inaccurate. It's a piss poor motto because I don't trust in any gods. So there's one American right there that is the exception to that, and I'm not alone. There's millions more. So.
Okay, I just looked it back up, make sure I had that right.
Mhm.
It actually says that "In God We Trust" has appeared on U.S. coins since 1864
Right.
and on paper currency since 1957.
Mhm.
So I stand corrected.
But what you said was still technically correct because it was not voted as the official motto until the
Right,
50s.
it wasn't adopted until
Right.
1956.
Yeah, so, again, we have a stunning display of ignorance about our history and our traditions and how things work. And, if Allison believes or trusts in God, that's her business. I don't. And I don't know why she's got to put it in all caps with 5,000 question marks. Not real sure about that. And then the next lady saying you can have that mess. So our freedom of religion is mess.
Yeah, I didn't get the peacock.
I don't know. Apparently something happened with the peacock, and I don't know. I haven't had time to look it up. But as far as I know, a peacock is not a traditional symbol in any faith. And if I'm wrong, please correct me.
Yes, please add to the
Um,
comments because we're
yeah,
still looking, trying to find the peacock.
because I don't have any idea what that's all about. All right, moving along to this next one.
Okay. Is it Gala?
Yeah.
Gila says this country is founded on Christianity. We have fought to allow other religions to prosper here, but now they are trying to stamp out Christianity. In the words of Patrick Henry, it cannot be emphasized too clearly and too often that this nation was founded not by religious but by Christians, not by religion but on the gospel of Jesus Christ. For this very reason, peoples of other faiths have been afforded asylum, prosperity, and freedom of worship here. Not freedom from worship, which is what some want. Now, more than ever, we need God. We need Christ. So many have lost hope. There is no hope in our government, no hope in material things. All we have left is our faith. Okay?
This may be something that Patrick Henry really said. It wouldn't surprise me because he was on the other side of the argument from Jefferson and Madison. They were
Uh,
all church state separation, and Patrick Henry was like, no, let's Jesus this thing up some. Let's make this Christian. So she quotes this founding father who was outvoted. He lost the argument, and she's dragging that back up. Why, I don't know. The country was not founded on Christianity. There were many, many Christians that came over here that helped build up this country. But our law is not Christian law. There's nothing in it about Jesus. Unless you count the date at the end, which was just the standard way of dating things. My problem with this is again another example of just complete ignorance about our history, traditions, and our law. And it's terrible that these untruths are being repeated over and over and over. And it doesn't matter how many times you take the whack-a-mole hammer to it, it seems like it pops back up.
I did find something. I think this is the peacocks that they were talking about.
Oh, Lord, he's found the peacocks.
In Madison County. Apparently, someone had put up some peacock decorations, and the city told her that she had to take them down.
She put them up on her property?
They were up on her roof, actually.
Okay. What was their reason for doing that?
Apparently, the mayor had been flooded with calls of complaints about the decorations.
So what, they claimed it was like a public nuisance or something?
Well, see, she has a wide variety of other Christmas Christmas decorations in her yard and along the house. The complaints were brought about by the blue peacocks with flashing lights she has on her roof.
Must have been huge.
Well, no, they're it's maybe 3 foot across from at the widest lengths.
Really? Oh, I see it now.
Yeah,
It looks
it's
kind of
not
pretty
very.
from here.
Yeah, they do. There's two of them there.
Okay, but you're talking about a local government. You're talking about city ordinances and private property here. You're not
Mm-hmm.
talking about the federal government stamping out Christianity.
Yeah, I don't know what.
So what's the frickin' peacock got to do with the sign at the Capitol?
Like I said, I don't know.
Folks, use your brain. Turn it on. Can you hear me? Turn it on. It works. You got to turn it on to use it, though.
It's true.
Wow. Okay.
It's got national television.
Over a freaking peacock.
Over a peacock.
Okay. All right, getting back to the video here.
Sorry, and just I was so curious, I had to look that up.
DFFT patrol all over the place. The last thing I wanted to say about Gayla Morse Davis's thing, who is trying to stamp out Christianity? Can you tell me who is doing this and how they're doing it?
Okay, non-theist in the United States is currently about 15%,
Something like that. I think non-religious, yeah.
and Christianity is 80%.
Something like that, 75 to 80.
Yeah, so there's like 5 to 10% of non-Christian but still theist, deity believing.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really scary when the underdog is stamping out the 80%.
I still haven't seen. Yeah, how are we stamping out anything?
I
I wonder if these
don't
people
think-
have ever considered that if they're losing members, then maybe it's because their arguments are not sufficient, or maybe their behavior is terrible.
I know a lot of them that have spoken to recently had told me that they were just sick to their stomachs with the attitudes
Mm-hmm.
and the treatment, not onto themselves, but
Yeah.
the treatment that they were seeing that they're in their congregation towards others
Yeah.
that were not in their congregation.
Think about that recent incident in Pike County, Kentucky, where they've kicked out this woman who's been going to church there since she was a little girl, and now she's been kicked out because she's in an interracial relationship.
Oh, wow.
What would you do if you were sitting there in that church as a member?
I wouldn't have a problem with it.
But you know that everybody else does, and they've just voted to kick her out and tell black
if I
people
was
you're
in
not
that
welcome
particular
here.
church there, I'd
Are
be out
you-
there with her.
Yeah, are you going to sit there in your pew and just go, well, the congregation voted, there's nothing I can do about it?
Oh,
Or
no.
you going to get off your ass and say, wait a minute, if she goes, I'm going.
Right. I will.
Yeah. And my point here, I said all that to say this. If you're losing members in your church, if you think Christianity is dwindling, you need to check yourself. It's not that we're stealing all your members. It's that you're doing something wrong.
Well,
Or you're not doing something right. You need to take responsibility for your own failures, and please stop projecting it on us.
yeah, what do they call that when you blame it on the other person?
Projection.
It's just a projection.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because, we're not sneaking into churches and trying to divide and conquer here. We're happy to take people who come to us and say, look, I'm done with this religion. We'll take in people. We'll take in just about anybody because we care about people. But we're not stealing folks. If you're losing them, check yourself. That's all I got to say about that. Moving right along.
Moving on. All right. Next up, we have Tammy says, "Can one of you atheists explain why you are so threatened by our Christian symbols? Put the sign and the Christ mess tree there." Sorry, that was all caps.
Yeah, Christ, all caps.
Christ, yeah,
the
Christ, all
Christmas
caps.
tree.
Okay, what's wrong with that? Which group is being disagreeable? Trying to shove something down someone's throat? Also, if you don't like this country, why not leave and find one that suits you instead of cramming your beliefs and ideals down the majority's throat? Yeah, this is the one that reminded me of that. The 15% is scaring the 80%. The underdogs are. But
Yeah.
it's not that I don't see anyone cramming anything down anybody's throat. If
No.
anything, as soon as you walk into a room and you make any kind of remark that is against Christianity, I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, that there are Christians there who will force back towards that person who said that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not always a pleasant conversation.
No, as we're about to see.
Yes.
I did ask her a question in this thread, and she hasn't responded to me yet. So I thought on this video I would just answer her question again. So I put a little nativity scene down there at the bottom to kind of spruce it up.
Okay.
I'm not afraid of anyone's Christian symbols. I'm not the least bit threatened. It doesn't bother me. And as long as our sign is allowed in the Capitol, then the Christmas tree or the nativity or whatever's reasonable needs to be there too. And that's fine, as long as everybody has the same access. I don't think I'm being disagreeable at all when I say that you and I should have equal access. I don't think I'm trying to shove anything down your throat when I say we should have equal access. And the reason why we have equal access and this kind of freedom is because we live in America, and I happen to like it. I like it the way it is in the terms that I'm just as free as you are to practice my beliefs, to say what I want to say, and to put a sign up at Christmas time. So my question to you is, if you don't like a country where everyone is free and has equal access, why don't you leave and find you a Christian theocratic state?
I think someone else replied to this as well. Talking about if you don't like the symbols, then maybe you should get rid of the pagan tree.
Yeah.
And the pagan symbols that you're putting up, whether you realize they're not Christian symbols.
No, they're not. And I really can't stand it when somebody says, if you don't like this country, you can leave. Because to me, America is exactly the place for everybody who doesn't fit in everywhere else.
It's been called the melting pot for over 200 years.
And the beauty of it, what makes it work, is the fact that different people answer to a higher set of values, which is enshrined in the Bill of Rights, those freedoms. But, in this case, I want to put this back so she can see what this looks like. She's telling me if I don't like this country, I can leave. Well, I'm not the one that has a problem with the country. I'm not the one that has a problem with the Constitution and the law.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like she is. So my question to her again, if you don't like equal access and you don't like freedom, why don't you leave? I would love to have her answer that. I would love very much for her to tell me if she's just working off a misconception, or if she just misheard, or, if she really feels that way. I would like to know. All right, moving right along.
All right, we have Clifton. He says, that's okay for a Christian group. I'm sorry. It says, that's okay. For a Christian group got a permit to have a Christian nativity parade in front of the Supreme Court House, and it was issued without any problems. This set the way for others in the state, so judges can't say it's against the law to do it. God is great, and he will step in when the time is right. Bad grammar. It's messing with me because I'm trying to read it word for word, and I'm trying to correct it in my brain, and it's just...
Yeah. He's talking about the Nativity Project, where they have this live nativity parade that goes out in front of the Supreme Court. And this just tickles me to death, and this is why I made this little graphic you have here. This idea of a moving nativity, and I had this thing in my head about the manger on wheels being pulled by the reindeer, and Mary and Joseph back there going, wait, we're trying to catch up back here. You see, atheists have a sense of humor.
Yes.
This is just like we talked about before. It's equal access. Either everyone gets to put up their crap, or nobody gets to put up their crap. And this is not anything about God doing some great thing and making these judges bow down. This is just American law. And I can guarantee you, if atheists want to have a winter solstice parade up there, we can get the permits and do it.
Yeah.
You're not special. Okay? Equal access. If you have a problem with equal access and freedom, you need to come tell me why. Go to the blog, email me at twinkied@gmail.com. Tell me why you don't love American values. Why do you hate freedom?
They sure preach.
Why do you hate equality?
I sure hear a lot of preaching for American values.
Yeah.
But they don't like it.
No. I want to know why. If you don't like our values, please tell me why. All right, moving right along.
All right, next up is from Karen. Said, I am ashamed of Mississippi. We are supposed to be in the Bible Belt, and yet we continue to do stupid things, like not passing 26 and allowing non-Christian organizations to put things out there for people that have undecided in religion to to maybe be detoured to the dark side. Ooh.
All right, first of all, I found no evidence that this is any relation to Brad Pruitt, so I'm not even going to go there.
Okay, I was just about to ask.
But I wondered because she did mention 26. Karen, this is not Jesus land. We're part of America, you know. We lost the Civil War and they took us back. I don't know if she remembers that. What do you mean allowing us to put our stuff up? You don't have the right to forbid us. What are you talking about?
This was before the TV station had posted their little notation letting everybody know that there is also a nativity scene.
But it doesn't matter because look what she says. She's ashamed of Mississippi because we do stupid things like allowing non-Christian organizations to put things out there that might lead people out of religion.
I didn't see anything on that sign that was...
Well, it says the religion, you know, hardens hearts and enslaves minds. It's myth, superstition. That's probably what she's referring to, but it doesn't matter. How dare she say that she's ashamed of Mississippi for following the law and that we do stupid things like giving atheists equal access and freedom? How dare she? How does she call herself an American? Karen, I wish you'd write in and tell us. I'd love to know.
Yes, please.
How do you call yourself an American when you do not stand for anything that we represent?
Mm-hmm.
Really? What else can I say about this? Moving along.
All right, up next, Brittany. What about a permit for prayer back in school? Sad you would even have to try.
You know, how many times do we have to keep explaining this to people before they get it? That students can pray at school?
Yeah, they can. It just cannot be faculty-led.
Now, how many years did you go to public school?
12.
Right,
11.
Yeah, I went 11 years. I skipped a grade.
Mm-hmm.
Was there ever a time when you took a Bible or you prayed or you did anything like that and the teacher snatched you up and sent you to the principal's office, they told you couldn't do it? Was there any time when you were forbidden from practicing your religion in a reasonable manner?
As far as prayer, no. I was never denied that. If I wanted to pray while I was in school, I was never denied.
So what's this talking about a permit for prayer back in school?
I don't know. I had to read it 3 or 4 times.
I mean, does she really want the government to tell people how to pray, who to pray to, how to do it, when to do
it? Here we go again. If you are going to allow, it's all or none. Okay? If you want prayer back in the schools, then you have to have a prayer for every single denomination out there.
And you better believe somebody like me, if I find out that's going on around here, I will file first thing to get on that list, and I will come up with some prayers that they will not like. That's why we don't let the government talk about religion. And it's not the government's place. It's parents' place, church's place. It's the individual's place.
It's a private place. It's not something to be done out in public like that.
Well, according to Jesus.
Well, yeah, according to Jesus, not to be standing on the corner and
shouting. Yeah, I don't
shouting.
know who listens to that guy anyway, right?
Well, apparently we need to, but that's what they keep saying.
Hey, let's make a deal. When you guys start listening to what he says and doing it, maybe I'll listen to what he says. How about that?
There you go. All right, next up is from Jesse. He's got a little two-parter here. He says, there is a separation if church and state aimed at those of who are saying freedom of religion. Atheism is a form of religion because you have faith that nothing is there. So this is a violation of my rights as a Christian. Also, they are just doing it to stir up anger with Christians. Believe what you want, just don't try to intimate.
That's what it looks like.
Intimate hate. I wonder if he's trying to say initiate hate. I don't know. Which exactly what this is. And I'm pretty sure the atheists who did this knew it would.
Yeah, I got 3 bones to pick with this. 3.
You're making my tongue hurt just speaking this.
Yeah. All right, first of all,
hate bad grammar.
Atheism is a form of religion because you have faith that's nothing there. What is the definition of atheism?
It's the non-belief in God.
Yeah, it's a lack of belief in any gods.
Lack of belief.
It doesn't mean I believe in nothing. It doesn't mean I'm into nihilism or something. It's just a lack of belief. Okay, let me help you out, Jesse. This is simple math. You claim you believe in one God. Of course, you also say that 3 equals 1, but I'm not going to go too far into that. But you claim you believe in one God. I say I believe in one less. 1 minus 1 is 0. I believe in one less God than you do. It's not anything about faith. It's not, having this supernatural magical belief that nothing's there and everything just magically appeared and. No. I just believe in one less God than you do. Alright, so you need to get that straight. Second, how is it a violation of your rights as a Christian when your religious symbol is up right next to mine? How's that violate your rights? Now, I understand if you're telling me you don't like the sign and you don't want to see the sign, and there's an easy remedy for that, and that's quit putting your shit up. Okay, if you don't put your shit up, we don't have to put our shit up, and everybody's happy. Okay? Real simple. This is not a violation of your rights. Quit whining. And the third part is this idea that they're just doing it to stir up anger with Christians. I'm sure the atheists who did this knew it would. I don't get up in the morning thinking about how to make you mad. I get up in the morning and I think, when I read something that's going to make me mad today, please let me have a little bit of grace when I deal with it. And I usually fail, because I have a loud mouth and a temper. But we don't get up in the morning and think of ways like, oh yeah, how can we piss off these Christians today? What can we take away next? Because we're doing such a good job of stamping out Christianity since, it's the 80%. We don't want to take away your rights. We just want equality. We just want not to be hated and vilified and treated like garbage. But, that's going to require work on our part. So, moving right along.
All right, up next, we have Brent. He says, they are doing it for attention. If no one reports on it and everyone ignores them, they will go away.
Nathan, are you just going to magically go away if Brent stops paying attention to you?
I don't even know who Brent is.
Yeah. I hate to tell you, sir, but I was born and raised in this state. I have lived here for almost 40 years, and I ain't going anywhere. I'm not shutting up. I'm not going away. I'm not backing down. I'm sorry you don't like that, but free speech. How's that working for you? Next.
Right. Ralph says, atheists claim they don't believe in God. Well, he says, I don't believe in atheists.
What do you call someone who refuses to believe in something that they have solid evidence for? I call him a denier. So I guess he's an atheist denier. Well, Ralph, I believe that you exist because I see a picture and you've written something, so I think it's very reasonable to think that you exist. I got a flash for you here. I really don't care what you believe because, it's not my business. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect my life. So, I don't know why you even wasted your time with that because I don't care. Next up,
Jack says, put it up on Fool's Day, April 1st. The fool hath said in his heart, there is no God. Psalms 14:1.
Oh, Jack, you are so funny.
That
is so witty. I have never heard a Christian say that before. Have you?
Yeah, but unfortunately, they already turned in the permit, so the date's set. And it's for the month of December. Sorry. Maybe next year.
I had a Bible one time when I was a kid. And in it had Jesus' words in red letters. And I seem to remember there was a verse that said in there something about calling your brother a fool and being in danger of hellfire.
Ew.
So, Jack Woodard, I just want you to know that if the day comes and you're right and I'm burning in hell, son, you may be right there with me. Because you have called us all fools. And Jesus said, don't do it. I'll save a place for you in the hellfire. That's all I can really say about that.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
Next up is from Jack. Jack says, not surprised, liberals at work.
Oh, scary. Liberals. Is that supposed to be an insult?
I don't know.
All the liberals I know are pretty decent people.
It seems to be a good, blame it on the fat kid thing.
Because, liberals are all Nazi, communist, Kenyan, Muslim, atheist, Stalinist.
Hey, there's another guy that falls in that category, isn't there? What was his name?
Guy.
All right, next up was from Denise. For those that want to take God out of everything, good news. he won't be in hell either.
I think Denise is looking forward to our eternal torture. How
Apparently.
Christian of you.
Yes.
How
It's a
Christian.
cute cat, by the way.
Yeah. Your cat's going to be in hell too. How about that?
Nah. All
I'll
right,
be
up next.
petting it.
Oh, up next is Rhonda. Going to hell in a handbasket. A woman can't display peacocks for Christmas, but people allow this. Insane. Yeah,
Uh,
another reference to the peacocks.
yeah.
They actually created a Facebook page.
Uh-huh.
It was called Save the
Save the
Peacocks.
peacocks.
Yeah, they have 850 plus people that like their page. That's just something like wildfire. You know, it gets started in one little place and it just blows up.
You know what we're going to have to do now? We're going to have to get a picture of a peacock with the hot pepper spray in it.
Oh yeah,
Totally.
I think it's already there somewhere. Someone's got it by now.
Probably so. Back to this lady, Rhonda. Again, just like Denise, both of you women, why are you delighting in the fact that you think we're going to hell? Are you sadist? Is it Christian to want people to go to hell? I seem to remember something about, God is not willing that any should perish. But you seem to just be rubbing your hands going, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I just can't wait. Thinking about it makes me so hot. Oh, yes, they're going to be burning forever in the hellfire. Look, if you're getting off on this, save it for somewhere else. We don't need to see it. That's private. And as I have said before, allowing this, you don't have the right to forbid it. This is our freedom. Our freedom is every bit as important as yours. Every bit. You're not the most important person in the world. You got to share it with the rest of us. Grow up. Get over it. Next.
Next up is from Danny. He says, I got an idea. I want to welcome those atheist idiots by placing a nativity scene and a cross directly in front of them. Let's see if they can guess what that represents.
All right. So we are idiots, but he's given us a challenge, and I accept that challenge. So I found the nativity, and I added a cross,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that means Christianity.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what I would think.
You guys comment or let us know. Did we get it right? Because, we're just a bunch of atheist idiots out here. Danny didn't give us anything else to go on, so we need some feedback. Did I get it right?
All right, we got 3 more from Danny. He says, atheists are immoral. The only way to true life is through Jesus Christ. And then he says, I just saw the clarification about the nativity scene, also appearing at the Capitol. Finally, the power of God will be demonstrated through this scene. Then you atheist jerks will get cast into the lake of fire, for your names will not be written in the book of life. That's according to the book of Revelation in the Bible, the true word of God. Followed up by, the only thing that would ruin the beautiful nativity is the group of garbage-minded individuals protesting next to it.
All right, first, atheists are immoral. Prove it. Prove it, Danny. Show me how we are more immoral somehow than anybody else.
I don't know if this is a decent or a good reference, but I was once told that there are no atheists in prison.
There are very few.
Very few.
Very
okay.
few. We are underrepresented in the prison population.
Yeah, we're working on that too, I think.
I don't know. I don't know if there are any atheist prison ministries out there.
I don't think there are.
But when people go to prison, a lot of them, especially down here, first thing they do is tend to find Jesus, thinking it's going to help them some.
Yep.
They get out early so they can go reoffend or whatever. But yeah, atheists are generally underrepresented in the prison population. And as a group, I challenge you, I defy you to show me how we're somehow immoral as a group. We're not. We're people just like everybody else, capable of just as much good and just as much evil as anybody else. So you need to either put up or shut up. And I hate to say this, but it's the truth, so I'm just going to come right out and say it. You're saying that the power of God will be demonstrated through the nativity scene at the Capitol. I don't know if you paid attention to last year's nativity scene, but it was the ugliest, cheapest piece of garbage I have ever seen, and I was embarrassed for Christians. It looked like something that came from Dollar General. It was cheap and plasticky, and you could see the seams in it.
Oh no.
It was horrible.
Hopefully they got a better collection this year.
If they use the same one they used last year, then I'm going to say that the only power you're going to see demonstrated through it is the power of capitalism and cheap goods from China.
Yeah.
I really hope this year you guys will put up something nicer and prettier because, believe it or not, I actually find a lot of those scenes to be beautiful. I like, the angels and the silver and the gold, and I love the wise men, the different colors. And to see a tacky, cheap plastic Jesus up there was very, very disturbing to me.
Yeah, that's...
It's like, we want to scream and holler about this, and not act like Christians and get our way, and then we go up there and the best representation you can put up is something that's come out of a cheap dollar store.
Yeah.
Really. And us atheist jerks are going to get cast into the lake of fire again. This is just total masturbation over our eternal fate. If anything is immoral, it's to delight in the idea that a fellow human being is going to be eternally tortured just because they didn't believe something in life. That is evil.
It is.
That is downright evil to take delight in that. So if you want to look at who's got the garbage mind in this, Danny, it's you. You were garbage minded. Because
that's a very heinous thing.
That.
The imagery in that is very heinous.
And it's so anti-Christian. Like I said, the Bible says God is not willing that any should perish. And Danny's sitting there going, yeah, you atheists gonna get what you deserve. You just wait. That is horrible. You are a horrible human being. Shame on you. Absolutely shame on you. I'm just disgusted. Moving right along to the last. I saved the best for last. This guy takes the cake. If anybody could be worse than Danny, it's this guy. Take it away.
Alright. Jerry says, I love how a post like this brings out the fringe underbelly. Plus their 5-paragraph wiki cut and paste comments are always interesting to read. The devil always comes in a pleasant form with a silver tongue, able to use spoken and written word to his or her advantage.
The fringe underbelly. There's only, 15 million of us? And we're a fringe underbelly. And that's just the non-believers. That's not counting the Christians and the pagans and the other people who also agree with us about church-state separation.
Mm-hmm.
You add that number into it, and you've got a hell of a lot more than a fringe underbelly.
You said 15 million?
Non-religious people.
15 million?
I believe so, isn't it?
Well,
or was it? No, it was 15%.
15%.
Derp. Okay. 15 does not equal 0, so...
Well, I think there's 300 million.
Come on, y'all. It's 5 in the morning. Cut me some slack here. And I don't know what wiki cut and paste he's talking about because I didn't see any wiki cut and paste.
There was a comment that was up at the very beginning.
I know there was one that was quite lengthy, but it wasn't a cut and paste. It was...
I think he's talking about the one from Brooke.
Yeah, the one about the Judaism.
One. Yeah,
I don't think that's
she had it all out in points.
Yeah, it was very well written. I learned a lot from it. Jerry seems to say, well, if there's any argument out there that's very well written and makes sense, well, that's the devil. If I don't agree with it, it's the devil. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how well you write. It doesn't matter, how compelling your argument is. If I don't like it, it's the devil. That's just sad. Unfortunately, this is not the worst thing that this guy says, so moving along.
He continues on with, I'm sorry for you're the minority on the planet. What a sad bunch of outcasts you all are.
I'm not really sad, and I don't feel like an outcast. Matter of fact, since 26 happened, I have met so many incredibly wonderful people.
Yes, we have.
I don't feel like an outcast at all. I feel like I'm part of a group of people, an interfaith group of people in Mississippi who are just wonderful people. And we don't agree on everything, but, it's not written down anywhere we have to. So
this isn't a utopia.
No. Sad bunch of outcasts? No, sir. No, sir. We have lots of friends. We have good family. And we're not sad. We have families and children and friends and life. And, when Christmas comes, I'm going to drink hot cocoa and eat Christmas cookies and listen to songs. And I'm not going to be sad.
Mm-mm. All right, next one is And if you keep pushing your hollow view of mankind on the majority of humanity, you're going to find yourself on the losing end of a 10th crusade.
And I think Alex pointed out quite rightly here, that's kind of a veiled threat.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, is he saying that the Christians are all going to rise up and slaughter us? Because I got news for him. Tons of the Christians I know would not do anything like that because they're good Christians. Does he really think the Crusades were right? Does he think that's the answer? That's insane. So, like I said, Alex responded to him, and now he's going to respond to her a couple of times.
All right. Next up, his response to Alex was, at Alex, what do you think the Islamic religion is going to do when they try and push your godless of humanity upon them? I promise you won't. I promise that won't fold like the American Christians have.
Yeah, and like she quite rightly said here, now it's like, pushing all this, projecting it onto the Muslims because he ain't got enough balls to say what he really wants to say, which is, I wish all of us Christians could get together and stomp your ass, but since we can't, we're going to get the Muslims to do it. This is my thought about that. First of all, American Christians haven't folded. American Christians, a lot of them accept the law and think it's a good idea. Those of you that don't are loud and brash and obnoxious. You haven't folded, you're just irritating. And as far as the Muslims are a lot like Christians. You find a couple of different flavors. You find a lot of Muslims who come over here and they adapt to our culture and they have a pretty liberal interpretation of their beliefs, and they're really good people. They work in the community. A lot of them are doctors and healthcare professionals. They work in these low-income, high-need areas, and they just are incredible people. And then, of course, you have the fruitcakes that go off and kill folks. And what I would like for Jerry and people like him to understand here is Christianity is not that different from Islam. It's just Islam is like a child, and Christianity is like a teenager that's old enough to know better. Sometimes they look at the kid throwing the fit, and they're like, this kid's throwing a fit, and that's not right. But man, I remember those days when I could just lay down and throw a fit. I wish I could still do that.
Doesn't accomplish much, does it?
Yeah, it doesn't. And my point here is that Christianity has grown up a lot, and it's still got a lot more growing to do, but we all do. Islam is going to grow up too. If you really want to help them grow up, then the way to do that is for all of us as Americans to stand united under our principles that are in the Bill of Rights and show them what a republic looks like and what good it can do. Because I think the more that they see the best of us, the more they're going to want that.
Yeah, it's so much easier to see the negative and the bad of anything.
Yeah, so, if you're worried about militant Islam, Sharia and all that, why don't you come over here and join us in the 21st century, and let's get together under a banner of our American values of freedom, and let's rally under that.
Mm-hmm.
Next.
Jerry says, I know the atheist won't be totally satisfied until all religion is wiped from the face of the planet. I do take satisfaction in knowing your plans of a godless one world will never come be. Onward, Christian soldier, and God bless America. I'm getting all tongue twisted because I'm trying to put the proper words in these sentences.
Yeah, and
it's messing me up.
The spelling and the grammar and all that's difficult. But you guys understand. I think the first thing I want to ask here is it true that you won't be totally satisfied until all religion is wiped from the face of the planet? Is that true?
No, not at all.
It's not true for me either.
I don't think that's the goal.
No. At least not for me.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a memo from any organizations or anything telling me that should be the goal. Now, I know there are some people that think the world would be better off without religion, and I understand where they're coming from. But like I said before, there are a lot of religions that don't buy into all that crap. And, honestly, I can live with those people. You can call me whatever you want to. I'm not so much interested in what people believe, but how they got to that belief.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm more interested in how did they get to that belief, and how are they going to use that belief to put their principles in action. And if those values and principles are something that line up with the American values of freedom and equality, then I don't see why I can't live with them as neighbors and friends. So, and like I said something earlier tonight at the dinner table, I would be totally against wiping out religion, by decree or whatever anyway, because that doesn't help anybody. It's not
No,
that
it
you
doesn't.
need to magically get rid of your religion. It's just that you need to apply the same level of skepticism to your religion as you would to any other claim. And you need to weed out what's bad, and you can hold to what's good, and let it help you be the best person you can be. So, I don't know what he's talking about, this godless one world thing. I guess he thinks we're all communist or something. I'm not looking for a godless one world government. Because when you have that, that means people are not free to find their own way.
That's right.
And
And
that's
they
the ultimate human challenge.
got free will,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd really like to see everyone be a free thinker.
Yeah,
Think for themselves.
absolutely. To be free to question, to be free to challenge. That's not something you can do if you have somebody on high saying, okay, from now on you're all godless, and the government's going to be just like I say, and all of you are going to follow what I say. That is the opposite of what we stand for.
Yep.
I think Jerry's a little bit confused.
Just a smidge.
Yeah.
All right. He responds to Todd saying the Christian is the only thing that stands between Sharia law and the freedom, and freedom. But like a fool, you destroy your first and final line of defense.
Yeah, and my little picture down here showing, that wave of Islamic Sharia law. Christianity's not doing such a great job of holding it back in the picture.
Mm.
It's not Christianity that's holding back Sharia law, and Sharia law is not a huge threat right now in America anyway. What's holding back Sharia law and any kind of theocracy is the Constitution. It's the First Amendment. That's what's holding back Islamic theocracy and Christian theocracy and Jewish theocracy. I'm thinking of the Hasidic communities we've had so much trouble with lately. It's the First Amendment that's the line of defense, and that's why I really get angry when you guys piss on it, because I don't want Sharia imposed on me, and I don't want Christianity imposed on me. Leave my Constitution alone.
All right, next one is towards Alex. It says, I can understand why people like me make you uncomfortable and how you really wish we could all just disappear. We represent the unfortunate stumbling block to your ultimate goal. See, without God, there is no judgment to worry about. You can go about your merry way, murdering children and dancing naked in the streets like animals. Cannot recall the last time I was dancing naked in the streets.
No.
It was in the 90s. Oh, just kidding.
I want to clarify something for Jerry, and I want to be very, very clear here. Jerry, you don't make me uncomfortable because you're a Christian. You make me uncomfortable because you're a pitiful excuse for a human being. You are a vile and reprehensible man. Your behavior is terrible. Your words are just egregiously terrible. I recognize your right to say that. I defend your right to say that.
Mm-hmm.
You have every right to be as obtuse, ignorant, and arrogant as you want.
Exactly.
But it makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it. I don't want you to disappear. I want you to change. I want you to learn and think and realize that you're being a dick and that Jesus doesn't like dicks. So stop.
Or at least ask questions. And stop.
My ultimate goal is not about getting rid of God, and I live with judgment every day. I judge my actions every day. My family and friends judge me every day. Society judges me. So I worry probably a lot more about judgment than you do. And because I do worry about judgment, that's why I am careful when I criticize people. That I try very hard not to make just blanket accusations. I try to be very specific about the things that I'm critiquing. So when you say stuff about, I can just skip along down the street dancing naked and murdering children, that infuriates me.
Yeah, it's very offensive.
It's extremely offensive to us because, as a lot of you may know, we have a dead child. And for you to just throw this out here, these baseless accusations, and throw this imagery up, disgust me. And quite frankly, right now, I despise these tactics, and I don't even know what else to say, because you're just acting like a really terrible person, and I want you to stop. Next.
All right, next up, he says, how many children died in one of Hitler's gas chambers? He was a big fan of getting rid of God and atheists. Just a stab here. Hitler was
nominally Catholic.
Yeah.
And he certainly had the support of the Vatican and the Catholic hierarchy.
Yeah. So how was he getting rid of God if he was Catholic?
He wrote extensively that he was doing God's will by getting rid of the Jews.
Yeah.
He promoted Christianity.
Still confused.
And do you know what the Nazi belt buckles had inscribed on them? God with us.
So that's kind of hard to get rid of. I guess they're getting rid of the belt buckles. I don't know.
I think Jerry just doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. You
You
know?
know, it's what is that law where you can bring in Nazism?
Godwin's Law.
Godwin's law. Okay, Jerry, you accomplished it. You brought Godwin's law into a discussion.
Way to go.
Yeah, it only took you
Just a few posts.
just a few posts, down the way, but you made the reference. And... All right, next up was Jerry responding to Carrie,
Who is a Christian.
who is a Christian. Actually, she has quite a few. Let's all just let bygones be bygones.
Mm-hmm.
The nativity scene is here. The atheist scene is there. We have equal right to have ours just as well as they do.
Yeah, she's a very
that's her stance.
reasonable, very
Very
classy
reasonable
lady.
Christian. I applaud her.
Mm-hmm.
But Jerry says to her, "You're an useful idiot. It's called being the devil's advocate for a reason. And Alex, you can play with words all you want, but I'm sure Stalin and Chairman Mao would just love you."
I don't think Carrie's a useful idiot. I think she is what I would call a pretty decent, good person. I mean, based on the things that she said, she sounds like a pretty good Christian
She's
lady, and I think she and I'd probably get along.
Open-minded, level-headed
Yeah.
young lady.
I would certainly rather be trapped in an elevator with her for 8 hours than with this guy. Because I'm afraid this guy and I would not get along.
No.
You
There wouldn't
know.
be enough corners in the elevator.
I think one of us would leave the elevator crying, and not because anybody hit anybody, but just from the blistering retorts on both sides. Because,
True.
we're both very opinionated, apparently. Those of you that have been paying attention to me or know me know by now, I don't get up and try to mistreat anybody. But when you behave this way, I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm going to call it like I see it. And if you don't like it, then you need to either be quiet or change. Or show me I'm wrong.
Exactly.
So, Carrie, if you happen to be listening to this, you're an angel. Do what you do. Don't listen to him.
Yes.
And the thing to Alex, I'm sure Stalin and Chairman Mao would just love you. No, they wouldn't. They would kill her. Just like they'd kill me. Because I'm not down with Stalin. I mean, I don't even know what you know about him, but he was a very, very sadistic person who enjoyed inflicting torture and death on people just for, something to do. And Chairman Mao, same thing here. They would not love us. They would kill us because they were anti-freedom. And freedom is what we stand for here. So coming to the last one, I put my manger on wheels in here again just because it was so cute and it brought a smile to my face.
All right,
Jerry
last
wrap this
response
up.
from Jerry. Well, it's been fun, but it's bedtime. Have good night, and remember, you'll still be sad and bitter in the morning. Sucks to be an atheist.
When I get up in the morning, I'm probably going to be drowsy.
Medication will do that.
But I'm not going to be sad and bitter. You want to know why? Because I'm alive. And I shouldn't be. I should have died in February.
Yes.
But I'm alive. I have family that's good to me. I have friends that are good to me. I have a partner that loves me dearly and treats me so well. I have a wonderful fuzzy cat.
Somewhere around here.
I have a beautiful view of the stars at night and the clouds in the day. I never miss a meal. I never go without. There is nothing for me to be sad and bitter about. Angry sometimes, yes.
Only at the ignorance of others.
Well, and sometimes when I screw up too.
No, it's true.
But I have no reason to be sad and bitter. And you know what? Here's the thing that I don't think Jerry understands. I think he has this idea that, if you're an atheist, well, there's just no reason for life, and there's no purpose, and when you die, there's nothing, so sucks to be you. How miserable. But that's not true. Because since I don't think there's another life for me, that means I spend every single day getting the most out of it I can. I spend every single day appreciating the people in my life. And appreciating the things that I have and wanting to do more to leave the world a better place. It does not suck to be an atheist. It does not suck to be me. It sucks to be a bitter old man who is so full of hatred and fear that he can't even have a conversation with people. And Jerry, I hope you will question and think and change, because people who act like that tend to die bitter and alone, and I don't wish that on you. I don't wish it on anybody.
No.
Not you and Danny, even though, the things you've said are horrible and you have mistreated us terribly. I don't wish that on you. I don't wish bad things on you. I hope something will happen or somebody will say something that will make you see that you need to change. And that reminds me, there was one other guy who commented there and said a couple of things that were not very nice, and his name was Mark. And by the time the conversation was about over, he apologized. And, I just want to give a shout out to him because, that's a person who has a conscience. That's a person who can say, I was wrong and I'm sorry. And so, Mark Ward, I salute you. I didn't put your stuff up here, but I do salute you for at least being enough of a free thinker that you can look back and honestly critique yourself and say, you know what, I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry.
It takes a real man to stand up
It
and say
does.
that.
And my hat's off to you, brother. No hard feelings there. So that's all I got to say about this. It's already run over an hour, if you can believe that.
I can.
But when the Twinkie D-Mobile gets started, you got to expect this sort of thing's going to happen.
Exactly.
So until next time, you guys, be good.
Be safe.
And have a good one.